This program is suitable for most people. However, it should not replace a supervised exercise program. Please consult your local doctor before commencing an exercise program, especially if you have one or more of the following: have had joint surgery, any medical condition affecting your heart, lungs or blood pressure, joint inflammation, you have not been doing regular exercise. Stop exercising immediately if you experience one or more of the following: chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, dizziness, numbness or tingling in the arms or legs, severe pain or discomfort in your joints. The producers and distributors disclaim any liability or loss, personal or otherwise, resulting from procedures in this program.
Welcome to Move It or Lose It. My name is Stephanie. I teach yoga and meditation. The yoga class that we'll be doing today is chair-based, so the entire class will be sitting in this chair. It's a good idea to have a chair that doesn't have any arms and that is quite firm. You want your hips to be level with your knees, not any lower, so you shouldn't be sinking into the chair at all. So for the first pose, it's a version of cat pose. So we're working through the spine, getting a little bit warm, getting a bit of mobility through the spine at the same time. We'll place the hands roughly on your knees or your thighs, wherever is comfortable for you. As you breathe in, we're going to lift the chest, arch the spine up, and let your shoulder blades just very gently come towards each other behind you. As you're breathing out, we'll do exactly the opposite. So curve the spine like a big letter C, press it towards the chair behind you, and drop your chin down. As you're breathing in, reach up again, same motion as the first time. Lift the chest, arch the spine. Breathing out, pressing the back out behind you. So flexing the spine as you're breathing in. And exactly the opposite motion as you're breathing out. You'll feel the hips rolling slightly as well. So the entire spine curling one way and then curling the other way. Keep your breathing nice and smooth, nice and even. You can do this as slowly or as quickly as your breath allows you to. So if you find that your breath is nice and long, make the movement of your physical body the same length as your breath. Keep your legs nice and relaxed. It's easy for us to sometimes tighten up through the feet and the legs in this pose. Focusing on the spine, rolling one way, and then rolling the other way. As always, with every pose that we do, make sure you're listening to your body. Make sure you're staying just inside what's comfortable. We want to feel the muscles stretching, but we certainly don't want to be straining or feeling any pain. Okay, we'll make that your last movement in this pose. Come back to center, relax there just for a moment. Now we're going to start down at the feet, getting some more mobility in the different joints, ankles to begin with. So we'll start with the right foot, take that out in front of you, and we're going to be doing some really simple rotations. So rotating around through the ankle, getting a lot of movement there in one direction. And then it's changing to the opposite direction as well. You might find that one way is easier than the other way. That happens a lot, so perfectly normal. Really rotating through the whole range of motion that you have. All right, let's drop that one down now. We'll switch to the other leg too, so stretching all the way out. One direction to start with. All the way around. And we'll get ready to change to the opposite direction now too. Although it looks like a really simple exercise, it's so great for the mobility of your ankle and the health of all those tiny, tiny little muscles that make up the ankle joint. Okay, let's stop there, drop that one down. Give your thighs a bit of a rub. You might really be feeling that in the thighs. We're asking them to hold the weight of the leg up. And we're going to do each side one more time. So first leg again. We won't go for quite as long this time, but we're always going to do both directions. So a few more circles in the first direction. And then we'll change directions. Have a play around with how much movement you can get through that ankle joint. And as always, don't worry too much if it doesn't feel like a lot. Everything you do is better than nothing. All right, let's rest that one too. Second leg, pointing out, around. Again, really focusing on how much range of motion you have. And switching to the opposite direction as well. Okay, dropping that one down again, giving the legs a little bit of a rub there too. The next pose we're going to do is stretching out the hamstrings. So you need to come quite a fair bit forward on your seat. So you're sitting on the top edge of your seat. We'll start with the right leg first. Press the heel away so that you've got a nice long straight leg. Point the toes towards the body. You might need to play around with exactly where or the distance away from the chair that you are. Then what we want to do is sit up really nice and tall, reach forward and press the toes towards the body. Now you might be reaching all the way down to the toes, you might not. You might have your hand on your calf, on your shin, or even all the way up on your knee, perfectly fine. If you can reach a toe, amazing. What we're aiming to do here is really press the toes towards the body so that you can feel the stretch through the calf and through the top of the leg as well. Stay there for a few moments, allowing that to stretch out. Muscles need to feel safe in order to stretch. It's really good to understand that. So if you press as far as you possibly can, the muscles aren't going to feel safe and they'll stretch less. So listen to your body, take a gentle stretch and allow the muscles to just gently work their way into the stretch. Okay, we'll release that side, come back up to sitting high. We'll switch over to the other leg as well. So press the foot as far away as you can, let it drop down. Bending with the chest towards. And again, if you're reaching the toe, that's fantastic. Anywhere else along the leg is also perfectly fine. As with the other side, the under part of the leg is always pressing away from the body as the toes press towards the body. Keep your breathing comfortable, even. Just allow the stretch to happen. Remember always to adjust your position if you feel the need to, if you have to come further forward on your chair, or adjust yourselves. Okay, let's release that foot, sit all the way back up again, bring that leg back to center. We'll do both sides again one more time, just for a few moments to really give the muscles a chance to stretch out. Right leg, press the heel, let it drop down onto the floor, sitting nice and tall with the spine, bending over, reaching towards the toe. Staying here for a few breaths. Okay, releasing that side again, bringing the foot back, and we'll switch to the other side. So stretching all the way out, placing that down, toes towards the body, coming forward with the chest, reaching towards the toes. Adjusting if you need to, staying for a few breaths here. Okay, let's release that side as well. We'll come all the way back up and we'll just shake the legs out a little bit, give the heels a little bit of a stamp so that they feel nice and relaxed. And we'll just take a short break there before we move on to the next pose. Thanks, see you soon. Welcome back to our chair yoga episode of Move It or Lose It. Let's continue on. The next pose we'll be doing is a variation of Pigeon Pose. It also requires us to be at the front half of the chair that we're sitting on. So make sure you're on the front half definitely. Let's start with the right leg. We'll take that leg up and cross over, letting it rest down on your left knee. Now it's really important that your ankle is free. We don't want to have the ankle on the leg at all. We want it to be free so you can feel the ankle bone on the outside of your left leg. Now your right hand just comes to rest on your knee, your left on your ankle there. Your spine should be nice and straight. Think about it being really tall as you breathe in. As you breathe out, we'll take a really small movement with the chest forward slightly, coming towards your leg. What you'll find is that that really increases the stretch through the glutes here and through the leg as well. It's important that it's a small movement. It's important, as always, that you listen to your body. Long spine, breathing in and breathing out, just allowing yourself to be still here for a few moments. Can be a really big stretch for some people, so if it feels like a really big stretch, very normal. Let's stay here for a few breaths, thinking about your spine being really nice and long with each breath in. With each breath out, thinking about that chest coming forward and allowing the stretch to happen. It's good to stay here for a good few long breaths so that the muscles start to relax. You might feel a certain point where all of a sudden everything feels a little bit softer. That's kind of what we're aiming for. Let's get ready to switch sides now. Use your arms, help your leg out to come all the way up and down. We'll do the second side too. Really be mindful here of the placement of your leg. We really want that ankle bone to be really clear. Same again, position with your hands and then breathing in, long spine, chest up. Breathing out, a small movement forwards, bringing the chest towards the knee, really slowly. Can be just a really small movement, remember. This is one of those interesting poses that if you're careful about it, you can actually do anywhere. you could be waiting for a train and sitting like this. Nobody would know that you were doing yoga. Really great opportunity to do some sneaky yoga here and there. Okay, let's get ready to move out of this pose as well. Again, use your hand, lifting up. Bring that foot back to the floor. Give your feet a bit of a shimmy, a bit of a stamp, and we'll get ready to move on to the next pose. Bring your legs a little bit wider apart. We're going to do a really basic, easy forward bend. You can choose to stay in this pose for as long or as short a time period as is comfortable for you. So breathe in, lift the chest. As you breathe out, really lower your chest towards the floor. Let your hands come down on top of your feet. Let your head hang. Let your whole body rest forwards. And just stay here for a few moments. We're not going to stay for a long time. We're just going to allow the whole body to rest for a few short breaths here. As you breathe in, you'll really feel the upper back area fill up with air. It's a good stretch there as well. Okay, very gently now we'll start to lift back up by pressing the spine towards the chair behind you. Bring your hands to your legs, lift all the way back up, and take a long breath here. You might find that you feel a bit of blood sensation swooshing around, very normal after a forward bend. Let that settle. And then we'll move on to the next pose. Before we do that, we'll take another short break and come back in just a few moments. Thanks. Welcome back to Move It or Lose It and our chair yoga episode. The next pose we'll be doing involves the hands being behind the back. So I'll just show you. The position the hands will be in is like that, but we'll be doing it behind the back. So take your hands behind you, that same clasping position, press the hands down towards the floor, really lift the chest up nice and high. If you need to shimmy to the front of your chair, feel absolutely free to do that. Breathing in, lift the chest, breathing out, pressing the hands towards the chair or even into the chair. If your hands are touching the chair, that's perfectly fine as well. What we're working on here is really lengthening out between the collarbone, the shoulders dropping down, and the chest really lifting high. If you're finding that that's not much of a stretch for you, you can also hold your elbows behind your back. So feel free to experiment with whatever works better for you. What we're aiming for is lifting the chest, pressing the elbows down or the hands down, feeling that space through the chest and through the collarbone. Long breath in and long breath out. Stay here for a few moments, a few more breaths. Okay, let's release the hands now. Come back around to the front, place your hands onto your thighs and just drop your chin towards your chest. Let your shoulders really curl forwards, just in the opposite direction of what we were doing before. Just take a long breath here as well. and then we'll come back up to the center. The next pose we'll be doing is a variation of eagle pose. It can be a little bit tricky to get into, so just follow the instructions and don't worry if you don't get it quite right the first time. So bring your arms out to the same height as your shoulders. We're going to cross the left hand over the right hand and then bring the backs of your hands together. What we're aiming for is the elbows really being one on top of the other. It might be that your hands are significantly wider apart and that's the range of motion that you have. That's also perfectly fine. Go with whatever works for you. Now we're also going to take the left leg and cross it over the right leg. Make sure that your right foot is in the middle of the chair. Take a long breath here. So you should have left arm on top and right and left leg on top as well. As you breathe out next time, let's roll forwards just slightly to press your elbows in towards your stomach. Take a long breath in. You'll really feel that the oxygen you're breathing in is moving into the upper back area, really breathing into the space right between your shoulder blades. Every breath you take here is helping to stretch out the upper back, as well as the shoulders, as well as the spine. This is pretty much a whole body stretch that we're doing. Take a few long, comfortable breaths here. Really enjoying each long breath in and each long breath out. We'll take a long breath in together. As you breathe out, we'll start to come out of the pose. So lift your arms back up, reach all the way as high as you can, and breathing out, drop down, uncrossing the legs, and taking a long breath here for just a moment. We're going to do the other side as well. So arms come out. This time we'll cross the right arm over the left and the arms come up together. Remember, if you've got a lot more space here, that's also perfectly fine. We'll take the right leg too, crossing it over. Bring your left into the center. Take a long breath in. As you breathe out, we'll roll forwards again, elbows tucking in towards your stomach. And use your breath now to really feel that air breathing into the space right between your shoulder blades. Long breath in and long breaths out. We'll stay just for a few moments longer here. We'll take a breath in together. As you breathe out, we'll bring the shoulders back up to the first position, reaching the arms all the way up and overhead, coming all the way back down, resting the hands in your lap and uncrossing those legs as well. We'll just do a really short meditation to finish off this session. You can also do that seated in your chair. So come to the back of your chair if you're not there already. Allow yourself to rest backwards. Allow your whole body to relax. I like to interlace my fingers like that so that you know they're not going to fall anywhere. They're nice and comfortable. And then let your head drop down. Let your eyes close. Give yourselves just a few moments of stillness. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. Really enjoy listening to and tuning into the passage of air through the body. You might feel into your body where you've just been stretching, potentially your shoulders or your hips. Feel the blood flow, feel the space that we've created through our stretching, through our movements. Just enjoy this feeling of your body being alive. Remember, when you are doing these poses on your own at home, you can stay for as long or as short as you like in your meditation. Go with the flow, feel what works for you. We'll take one last long breath in and a last long breath out. Let your fingers begin to wiggle as you start to wake up, come back to where we are physically. Toes also wiggling. Take a big breath into your chest. Let your eyes open and have a quick stretch to let yourselves really wake up. Thank you for joining us for this chair yoga session. We'll see you next time.